Right, everybody, welcome to our Lunch and Learn session of Estate Master today. And I'd just like to say hi to all of those people that are still streaming in. You are welcome to keep coming in. Have no problem with this whatsoever. You can just join in and we will take it as we go. What I'd like to just point out to everybody today is that the session today is being recorded. And for those of you that are listening live, we have a very, very exciting special offer at the end, and obviously the special offer will be valid to you. For those of you that are watching this in the recorded version, the special offer at the end is unfortunately not for you, but we will cover the dates and validity. So basically today is about Estate Master, and we want to show you how using technology can save you 75% over your current methods of administering deceased estates. I would like to start off by thanking our sponsor, Marianne van Wyk of LibreLex, for very kindly sponsoring this program, and it's thanks to her that you guys are able to attend this webinar for free. So let's get started here quickly, and let's have a look and see what are the needs of a deceased estate management system. Well, first and foremost, it's got to be easy. I mean, we don't want to have a package that requires 3 PhDs in rocket science to be able to run it. So ease of use is absolutely essential. Obviously, one of our USPs is that we are fast, our system is fast, and it's going to save you a whole lot of money. Another very, very important one to save frustration, that you don't end up with a first and final and a revised first and final and a revised first and final, is accuracy. And I think by the end of the webinar today, you're going to see that our system is absolutely accurate. It will eliminate a lot of the human errors of repeatedly filling in forms. Obviously, we can't, as a software package, eliminate human error completely, but there are checks and balances built in. And as we go through the webinar, I think you will see and understand exactly what I'm talking about. The next thing is accessibility. And the nice thing with the Estate Master program is that once you own it, it will be loaded on your computer system and accessible to you at any time. I'm going to cover all the password protection and the security of access, but if you have the right passwords and usernames, it is easily accessible. The next thing too that is obviously important is good support, and we have a wonderful, wonderful group of IT specialists in-house here, and the support is fabulous. The last point obviously is cost effectivity, and that is an exciting part because, as I said to you, pay attention, stay with us right to the end of the webinar, and we have an exciting special offer for you at the end. So what should you be expecting from the webinar? Now, a lot of you, this will be your first webinar, and it may seem a bit weird because you can hear me talking but you can't see me, but the good news is I can't see you either. So if you are sitting there and you're having a scotch instead of a coffee, go for it. No problem from my side. But what you need to be expecting from today's webinar is a promise which I'm going to make to you, and that is that at the end of this, you will understand our concept of saving you 75% of your valuable time when you are administering a deceased estate. And that 75% saving is if you're going to be using our software of Estate Master. So who's our sponsor today and who's responsible for the Estate Master? Well, that's a company called LibreLex. Now, LibreLex has come of age. We are just over 21 years old. We have various divisions, but the legal software division specializes in the law fraternity. So it's not somebody sitting on the outside. We have specialized for 21 years in the law fraternity, and we only employ highly qualified and skilled IT people. And in fact, I can share with you that our technical support staff and our backup staff in the support room have got more than 40 years of experience on board, and we even have one of the most respected IT professors that used to be in the universities as one of our team members. So guys, you're not going to get better support than what you're going to get at LibreLex. So let's move straight into the program. You will have a desktop icon, you double click on it, and this is what you see, your login screen. Now the first part I want to bring up to you is in red at the bottom there, and it's all your database pathways, sorry, slip of the tongue there. Nothing to worry about. When the program is installed on your computer, that will all be set up for you. It's a once-off setup, and then you don't have to worry about it again. At the top, we have your access, and you can see there's two parts to it. You get a username and a password. You can create user groups and whatever else, and you can provide permission in the top right corner there as to who is allowed to do what. So that's really, really cool. Once you've done all of that, you enter your password, click on proceed, and voila, we're into the program. Now, obviously, for the purposes of this demonstration, we have created a couple of databases, and you will see there are two there that are the same, and the one says English and the one says Afrikaans. You're going to understand that in a second. I just want to point out at this stage that I'm going to be demoing in the English version, and just as a point of demonstration, we have taken this estate to a third and final. Now, the chances that you will ever get there is highly unlikely, and we know from many, many years of experience that less than 3% of our clients ever even get to a second and final. Yeah, first and final revised, that happens all the time, and I'm going to show you how cool it is in the system, how easy it is to do. But basically, you will see as I go along, we have taken it up to a third and final. And the reason we did that? Well, quite simply, just because we can, okay? Right, so when you first get started, what you do is you click on our little red cloud down the bottom there and say add an estate, and the window that pops up there is the new add estate button. Now, the first one there, reference number. Please notice that we are not asking you to change your in-house system completely. All your normal referencing and your normal reference numbers, you can put in whatever you want reference number there, up to you, so it will keep running in your system to not create too much confusion in-house for you. Second of all, you choose a language. Now, this is not the language of the person. We'll get to that in a minute. This is the language that you, as the administrator, want to work in. And the program runs in both English and Afrikaans. So you select whichever one you want there. There we go. And bingo. Then it takes you into the area where we start adding the estate. And as I say, I'm going to use the Luciano English version. So what we would do is we would click next to it, and then we would click on client information, and it opens up the program with that estate. Now, bear with me quickly while I explain to you the different sections of this. The first part that we do at the bottom there is the deceased person's information. Okay, and there's basically three parts to that information. Obviously, the first tab there is their personal information. The second part of the program is where you work in the program on that person's particulars. Okay, so that's the two parts, quite important to remember because it'll make logical sense as we go along. Please remember that the top section there that I have in that oblong at the top, or the rectangle, is the working of the program. And very much like we read in this country from left to right, we also run the program from left to right. Very important. I'm going to mention that a couple of times as we go along because it's a logical sequence. Read from left to right, work from left to right, and it makes it so much easier and much more accurate to use the system. Okay, so moving on, let's have a look. The first tab we have is the personal information. Now, there we can fill in as much information. And remember, being a computer program, what you put in is what you get out. So my advice to you is to click on every block, fill in something all the way along, because the more information you give the system, the better it's going to work for you. Okay. Second tab we have is children. At the top, you can add as many children as you want to. If you have predeceased children or whatever, you can have grandchildren down the bottom. I'm not going to go into that now. When you're into the program, we'll help you for that. And then the third section that we've got is obviously the marriage information. So you would fill in the spouse and everything at the top there. And please remember that in today's society where 2 out of 3 people end up getting divorced, and second of all, where you have cultural things of more than one marriage, we have a section at the bottom there of previous marriages, and you need to fill in as much information as you can. Guys, computers, we're not going to use the word, but smelly stuff in, smelly stuff out, okay? So give the computer as much information as it can to work on. Now, another thing that we can do here, which is really cool, is we can choose the language of the deceased estate that we're working in. So we click on options, we click on language, and you can see you've got 6 options there. You choose whichever one you want to, and then you click on nationality, and you can choose the nationality of the person. Really cool. We then go along to the personal information. Remember the little man there? that is the personal information man, and there is a drop-down menu where you can stick in all sorts of things like arms and ammunitions and all sorts of things. I'm not going to go into it because that is just too much information and I don't have time today. But just have a look at what I've highlighted there as being much, much more information that you can add in. Cool. So the next thing that we do is we go along, and the no prizes for guessing that the asset tab is a little money bag. Okay, so if you go and click on the money bag, what it does is it opens up the assets of this particular estate. Once again, for demo purposes, we have obviously populated a whole lot of assets that are already in there. But if you want to start a new estate, or if you're going to add in something else, you would simply click on the little red cloud at the bottom there, magically, and no brains to say add. That's add an asset. And then we start again, as I said, from left to right. Once you've added an asset, now we must tell the system what that asset is. On the asset type, you will see that there are many, many different possibilities that you can use, but there are 3 of them that we have put ticks next to. And the reason we put those check marks in is because those of you that are already using or doing estates will know that the master tends to get a little bit finicky about estates. And there are really only 3 categories that they want to see. The first one is immovable property. The second one is movable property. And the third one then is cash assets. Now you can call them whatever you want to. You can use the others. But in my experience, what happens when you use other names, the master goes, nah, do it again and make it one of those 3. So that's why we've put tick marks next to it. There are other options because some people do want to use them. And hey, that's cool. If that's what you want to do, go for it. The system will allow you to do that. The next thing that we need to look at again is the action of that asset. And again, we've got 2 tick marks there because the 2 most common that we use in almost 99% of estates is awarded and realized and collected. Okay, so that's why they're highlighted. But again, it's up to you. You can choose and do what you want to there. As far as valuation is concerned as well, we need to tell the system how it was valued. Obviously, that's important for the estate because there will be questions on, but who said that is that value and everything else. So there you can see on the valuation the drop-down possibilities of how you want to value the estate. Right, I'd like to touch on heirs quickly. Now, heirs is a really, really interesting section, and remember that you cannot add heirs into the system until you have at least 1 asset. So when you use the system, create the first asset. You don't have to have them all in. You create the first asset, and once you've done that, then you go down to the bottom right-hand corner there, and you click on the button heirs, and it brings up this little screen here, which is made up of 2 parts. Now, guys, this is quite important because this is one of those first steps whereby we're going to eliminate the human errors. And the first thing that you do, regardless of which asset you have open, you will, on the top there, it says, heirs available in this estate. You list all the assets at this stage. It's a communal list of all the heirs to the estate. And then what you go and do down the bottom is you, in this particular asset, which is the 36 Fahey Street, we then go and distribute it to the heirs from the top list. Okay, so you only need to capture the heirs once, which is really, really cool. Okay, let's move on to the next one, and that is obviously the liabilities. Can you see the pattern of why I'm saying we work from left to right? You first got to tell the machine whose deceased estate it is, then we go and put the assets in, and now we quickly click on the liabilities and go and have a look at those. Obviously, we've added a couple in already for the demo purposes, but for you, if you're going to add another one, you simply go down to our little red cloud down the bottom there, click on add, and then type in the details, and again, we start left to right, and the first thing that we need to do is to tell the system, is this an administrative expense or is it a claim against the estate? Okay, so there's basically only the 2 types of liabilities there, and you can see I put the little red arrow in because what it's doing is when you click on it, it'll auto-populate that field and fill it in for us. Next part of it, which is really cool, most of us want to know how much money we're going to make from this. So what are the executives' fees? Now, obviously, when we filled in before what the percentages are that are going to happen on the estate, but if we click on that, there you can see it brings up some figures. Now, it's important that I point out here again, remember I told you for demo purposes, We have taken this to a third and final, which is why it tells you at the top there that the asset executive fee at 3.5%, and there you can see first and final was 40,242 Rand and 2 cents, and so it goes through. Same thing for VAT and income and everything. That should be logical to you, and those are obviously second and third and final as we go through. Cool. Let's go on now to look at what I personally think is one of the real magics of this system, and that is the documents. Guys, excuse me a sec. I just need to have a bit of water. Right, we're back with you. Okay, so the important thing to remember about documents is that they can only produce from what you've already put in, and that's why I've said they always complete the left 3 buttons first. In other words, the deceased estate, personal children, blah, 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 all the assets, all the liabilities, and then we go on to the magic of these documents. So let's click on the little yellow envelope, and that'll take us in. And what we see here is that there are effectively 2 parts to the report generator or the documents. At the top, it's basically the simple documents, and I'm not going to go through all of them. I mean, you guys will recognize them. You can see there the deceased estate notice. You can see the section 18.3 estates there in the middle at the top. I'm not going to open all of them up. I just want to quickly show you that if we do click on some of them, how they auto-populate. So let's have a look quickly at the death notice. Once you've filled in all the details, you click on death notice, and pop, up it comes, and it's all already filled in for you. If we have a look at the special power of attorney form, again, guys, can you see here where we're eliminating the human error? You've only got to get it right once, and then the system will keep populating all these forms. You don't have to go over and over and over and over again and fill in every form every time, not only wasting your time, but also risking the inaccuracy part. Okay, and there we can see that the account, the estate lying for inspection with the liquidation and distribution accounts, so it's all auto-populated for you. Even a good old capital gains tax summary. All right, it's giving you the descriptions and it's showing you all the stuff there. So this is really neat stuff, and as I say, you've just got to capture the data once, and these reports can be printed, they can be generated, they can be done over and over again. There's no limit to it. But let's move on now to the bottom section, which to me is much more exciting because we're getting to the part that often stresses people when they start working on estates. And let's start with the liquidation account. So we go into the little red cloud, click on the liquidation accounts there, and it opens up. Now again, we've got a lot of options. Unfortunately, in this webinar, I don't have time to go into all of them, so I'm just going to show you a couple of them. The first one I'm going to show you is the wills. If we click on wills there, you can see it gives us all sorts of options. Are we massing? Are we not creating a massing? Or, hey, even we can go partially massing. Okay. Next one I want to show you is the bequest. Now, if we click on bequest, what I'm trying to show you here is if you do end up going on to a first and final, second and final, we can add these bequests and work in the different ones. I'm not going to go into it now. You know how this works with when somebody comes up and you've got to revise it and it gets rejected, blah, blah. Nothing going to go into that. We'll just move on quickly to this part, which is really cool here. You can see the print section. You've got 3 options there. You can either go to screen, to paper, or to Excel. Now, for me, I like to be a little bit green, save a couple of trees. So what I always recommend is print to screen first, because it then gives you the reports. You can look at it, and you're going to see now when we pop through it how quick and nice it is and how easy it is to check that you haven't made a mistake. If it's all good, then you just come back to the screen and print it to paper. Okay, so it just helps us become a little bit more environmentally friendly. So I've marked it there as print to screen. Let's pop into the print button. And here we see the first thing that comes up is the first and final liquidation and distribution account of the estate as specified. And you can see there in the first block where it says assets, exactly as our friend the master wants it. First, it's immovable properties, and it gives you the description with a voucher number. Then it's movable properties, and then it's the cash assets down the bottom. And if I just move on a little bit, you can see the next page is the liabilities. Same thing applies there. Everything is set out really, really nicely. We then move down to the recapitulation statement. And if I just scroll on to the next part there, you can see that the end of it, how cool is that? It even works out for you if there's a cash shortage and a cash surplus, so that you can already start to know whether the heirs are going to have to chip in a bit to get their claims and everything else going. On the bottom of that then is the Annexure A with all the fiduciary assets and everything else. The end of that, just to show you there, the estate duty comes up to show you how much has got to be paid. Annexure B then when comes up, and that is income and expenses. And I mean, look how cool this is, guys. First of all, please notice that that is for 2005, 2006 in this estate. But look at that. You've got two columns next to each other, beautifully set out. And really, it's a no-brainer to be able to check and see that those two figures are right. They balance, they're equal. And if they don't, hey, you can go back and fix it because it's easy, no harm done, and you haven't wasted any paper. We then close that one. The next one that opens is the same income and expenditure, but this time it's for 2006, 2007. And you can see that our computer system has balanced it up beautifully for us so that we know that there are no errors in it. Annexure C then comes up, which is a list of the deemed assets. Okay, nice and easy, simple to read. And if we close that, the next thing we go into is a distribution account. And quite simply, we can do pretty much the same as we did in the liquidation account in the distribution account. So let's click on the little button. And there we go. You can add, you can carry on and do whatever you want to. You can put in descriptions, whatever you like. And if you want to have a quick look at some information, you just pop onto the information button there, and it'll bring up a quick summary for you and just tell you that in this particular case, there is no estate duty payable. You all know that formula that's in there. And if we close that, the next little block that opens up again gives us all your total asset value and your deemed and your cash assets, yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to go through that. You guys are aware of what that's all about, but it's all popped up in a nice little summary. And then once you're happy with that, you go down to the bottom right-hand corner and you click print. And here you can see now in your distribution account, all your beneficiaries are listed nice and logically with all the distribution to their name. So there we can see the Luciano Family Trust at the top, plus at the bottom there, their half cash shortage that they've got to pitch in, and then Marianne Luciano, the spouse, and so it goes on. And right at the end of that report, you can see how easy it is, guys. It's an absolute no-brainer to quickly have a look and see that those two figures balance exactly. Really quick and easy, saving you lots and lots of time. You're not going with a calculator backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. It's popped up, it's there, and it's easy to see. Another one of the biggies here, and to me this is possibly one of the biggest biggies, and this is probably one of the biggest stresses in any of the deceased estates that we talk to people with, and that is the estate duty calculation. So let's quickly click on that. And there we go. Now remember, it says there account 1, account 2, account 3. As I said to you, that is because we have done a first and final, second and final, and third and final, just because we can, and we wanted to show you how fancy our system is. Showing off a bit, I guess, but you know what? When the system is this good, you deserve to show off. Okay. So here we go. There's our little friend in the red explosion down the bottom there, the one that freaks everybody out, the Rev 267. Guys, you can chill, you can relax. Rev 267 is no longer a stress. So let's click on it and have a look. And there we go. We can see that the system brings it up on its individual pages. You can then go through and have a quick look. If you want to change something, you come back here. You can just sort it all out over here. And then down the bottom, there's the magical button, Generate Rev 267. So let's click on it. And obviously, I haven't brought up all the forms. I just wanted to show you, there's your nightmare that you probably recognize, and it is no longer a nightmare. We've now changed Rev 267 into sweet dreams. Just another page there. You can see auto-populated all in. I'm not going to show you all the pages. I haven't got time in the webinar. So, but 267, guys, no longer a problem. Okay, the next section we're going to go into quickly here is the quick look at the cash book. So we click on the right-hand side there, and guys, I'm not going to insult your intelligence and go through this in any detail. Quick and simple. Everything's in there. Hit print, and there it comes up, and it gives you a nice little summary of all your... oh, I see. I've changed that one from English to Afrikaans. Okay. I'm magic, hey? I didn't even realize I did that. Never mind. Yet the principle of it is there. And a quick last one that I want to show you on this program is the management reports. Now this is a really, really cool one. So we just go up to the top there, we click on the little management report button, and there it comes up. And again, auto-populated, guys. You don't have to start stressing about, now do I go and capture again and wasting time and again bringing in human error. You just simply go in here, click on our little print button, and there we go. Very cool. Management report on the estate number that you've given. Remember that that number is your in-house number, so it fits in beautifully into your normal system that you're using. It gives you all the deceased's estate's name and everything else, and then the most important factor down the bottom right-hand corner there, total executors fees, 45,199 Rand and 30 cents. And that's all done in a very short period of time. So all that's left for the person using the system to do now is to relax, click on Add Estate, and start the whole beautiful process going again. So the question that I have to you guys now is, would you agree that when you're using Estate Master, you would have maximized the time that you spent, and you would have minimized the effort of everything else that you would have had to have done to get this going? If you guys want to add a comment or ask a question, on the right-hand side of your screen, there's a little red block with a white arrow, and if you click on it and open it up, there's a question block. You can type in there, and the questions will come through to me, and we'll answer the questions as we go along. Okay? So the next thing that we need to look at here, let me just close my little block here, otherwise my presentation doesn't move on. There we go. So I promised you a special offer. So what is the special offer that we have for you? Well, guys, this is a time-limited offer for those of you that have bothered to subscribe to this webinar. You have 48 hours. In other words, we're going to take it to, let's call it, I know it's 1:30 now, let's call it 2 o'clock on Friday. So this special offer is going to expire at 2 o'clock on Friday the 11th. Okay, we probably should have made it 11 minutes past 11 on the 11th of the 11th, 2011, and then I just would have been a real smart ass. But we'll make it 2 o'clock on Friday, guys. And what you need to do for the special offer is that you need to pop along to our website at www.legal-software.co.za. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see that there's a registration there, and I know it says register for an online presentation. This is the form that we're using to get you registered, and what I want you to do is in the last line where it says special request, I want you to type in there webinar offer. That will then register us on our system, and what we can then do is, obviously it will be date time stamped, and we will then get a hold of you and talk about how we're going to implement this. But basically what it is that normally once the software has been implemented, the training that goes with it is a separate billable item. And what we are going to do as a special offer for you, to the value of 500 Rand, we are going to give you 1 hour's training webinar free. Okay, it's going to be in a week's time, so it'll be next week Wednesday. But for those of you that register, we will get a hold of you personally and individually. We will send you out an email invite, very much like you got to come to this, and you will have to register. It will be password protected so that only you guys that took the trouble to attend here and the guys that take the trouble to register will be able to get into it. So go to our website, www.legal-software.co.za, okay, and register there. Now, guys, there's something better here, and some of you might be going, oh yeah, but you know, what about the costs and everything else? Don't worry about it. What I'm going to do, again, special offer on the webinar, and this is only for the guys with the live webinar. Please, if you are watching this as a rebroadcast, this does not apply to you, but we are going to give you a 14-day money-back guarantee. In other words, if you register for the special offer and you attend the webinar training, we will give you 14 days from then to play with the system and everything else, and if you're not completely 100% satisfied, we will give you all your money back. No questions asked. Okay? So go in, register, and we will contact you about it. Remember, registering doesn't bind you into buying it. We will just contact you, run through some numbers with you, explain to you how our system works of buying and support and everything. And then if you're happy to sign up, you will get that access code for next week, Wednesday's training webinar, and you will get the 14-day guarantee. Guys, that's it from my side. If you need to know more, as I say, register on www.legal-software.co.za. Our sponsor's website is www.libralex.co.za. You can contact us through there, or you can drop us a a phone call or a fax, or if you want to email us, you can email us on info@librelex.co.za, and we can help you from there as well. But remember, to get the special offer, you do need to go onto our website and you need to register. Okay, so I'm happy to take any questions now. Right, let's have a look and see here. Okay, so there's a question coming in here from Mike, and Mike asks, how often can you reprint all these forms that you've shown us? Well, Mike, the good news on that is, how many times do you want to, my friend? You can, it's unlimited, because remember, once you've captured the information in the system, it is something that is going to be there, and you can look at it, you can change it, you can print it, you can go back and print it as many times as what you want to. Okay. All right, and here is, who is this? Heidi. Yes, Heidi, let's have a look at what you say. Section 18.3 estates. Okay, I didn't cover them completely, but there is a section in there. What I would suggest you do, register for the special offer, and just when we do contact you, just make a note to the person that contacts you and just say, Bruce said I must point out to you that I was asking about Section 18.3 estates, and then we'll take it through. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to cover that at this point. Okay, let's have a look here quickly. Who we've got? Martin. Let's see what Martin wants to know. Revising first and final. Yeah, Martin, okay. Basically, the nice thing with this system is that once you've captured the information and you print it all out and you're happy, you send it to the master and something pops up, there's a bequest that wasn't put in or anything else, all you do is you simply go back to the estate, you open it up, you add in the information, and then very, very, very important that you have to go and recalculate your capital gains tax. I didn't show you that, but it's just simply click a button and it'll calculate it for you. But if you change anything, please vitally critically remember you need to go back and recalculate it from the beginning. Okay, and it's only if the whole thing is done and that you've got to do a second and final, which in our experience is absolutely rare. As I say, less than 3% of the hundreds of people that use our software ever get to that. Then all the other secondary charges come in, and obviously you know that whatever they paid the first one, they just pay the difference on the second one. So I'm not going to go into that at this stage. Okay, let's have a look here and see who else have we got. LZ, what is LZ asking me? How many users? Okay, that's a cool question. Thanks, LZ, for that lovely question. LZ's asking how many users can you have on the system? Absolutely unlimited. Okay, the system is written up that you can register as many users as you want to. The system has got codes built into it, and all we do is when you tell us how many you want, in your registration number and the code that our clever software guys have got, they will put it in there and then allow you to have the access as many people you want to. Right, let's have another look here. Stephen, what is Stephen asking? Stephen, where can we use? Okay, yeah, cool question, Stephen. I see you were probably a bit late in logging in. That's why you missed it. Never mind, I'm just pulling your leg, Steve. Basically, what Stephen's asking is, how can you access this from where? And quite simply, once you've loaded it on a computer, if you load it on a laptop, hey, you can sit in bed with your pink fluffy slippers and you can do an estate if that's what turns you on. It makes absolutely no difference. The license is to have the program on that particular computer, and then from there you can access it anytime you want to. Okay, we have another question coming in here. Let me just open this one up. I'm battling a little bit to see it. And this one comes in from Liesel. Oh, good heavens, I'm battling to read it. Okay, let's go and have a look here quickly. Oh, no, sorry, from Erica. Can you manually change the liquidation and distribution account before printing? If the system does not make provision for such changes, e.g. voucher numbers, additional notes to the master, does it save the changes? You can change whatever you want to, Erica. That's the beauty of the system, is that when you've created it, you can go back and change it. And that was why I was saying, you know, always print to screen first before you print to paper, because if you notice you've made a mistake or you need to change a voucher number or whatever, absolutely no problem whatsoever, and you can just go back and change it. You can balance it all up, and you can go through it over and over and over again until it's at what you want before you print it out and submit it to the master. So that's a really good question, and yes, it's very, very versatile. Liesel wants to know, is there a feature to see what progress is made on an estate? Estate reported, letters to the executor, and everything else. Yep, absolutely. There's a whole section that's in there where there is a whole progress bar where you capture what it is that you want, and it puts a date in it, and you can put ticks next to it. You can even on the system set up critical reminders that as you log in, it'll pull up a list of critical reminders and just go, hey, Liesel, morning, hello, please attend to these functions. So it keeps track of all of that for you all the way along. Okay? Right. Are there any other reports that you can print from the system when your L&D accounts are due, progress reports, etc.? Erica, that's a fabulous question. Yep, whatever you need to do in estate can be printed from the system, and you can print it at whatever time you want to. It keeps a record of when you print it and when it's due, and as I say, you even set up reminders to say, well, this should be back or should be submitted, or you know, you've sent a letter to somebody and you're waiting for a document. You can set a timer that it'll remind you that that document should be in. Ivan, welcome, Ivan. How is comprehensive training handled, i.e. for somebody like me based in KZN? Ivan, we've got a number of different ways that we do it. As I say, if you take up our special offer today, we will do it by webinar. We also use a program called TeamViewer, and if so desired, our wonderful trainer Hester, who has many, many years, and she's considered to be an expert in the field of deceased estates, she would be quite happy to even come down to your practice and do live training there. Obviously, there are costs involved in that, but yeah, there's no worry with that. I promise you, you have enough support and training on the system that nothing has to stress you. Okay, let's move on a little bit quickly. Erica, right. Can we have a list of standard letters that you have available in the system, and will it print on our letterhead? Okay. Yes, the answer to that, Erica, is absolutely yes. All sorts of letters, I brushed over it very, very quickly, but for example, the letters to go to the newspaper, all of those, there's an extensive list in there, and you can print it on your own letterhead. There's absolutely no problem. Remember, you fill in the system. There is a block that asks who the executors are and what your address is and everything else. I didn't cover that because it's a once-off setup like the database, and you can then print it with all your details auto-populating. Okay. Erica, let's have a look. You've got another question here. Can you create a cash book for each bank account in the name of the deceased as well as the estate's late account? Wow. Hey, talk about stump the jury here. Erica, I don't know that one, but I tell you what, one of our experts, either Hannes or Hester or one of them, would certainly be able to answer that. That's a brilliant question, and thank you for catching me out here. I really don't know, but we can certainly refer that to one of the specialists that we have. And if you take us up on our special offer, when you are contacted, please ask them to find out that exact answer. I will, in fact, I'm going to give you a commitment now, Erica. I'm going to go back to our experts. When you registered for the system or for this webinar, your email address was captured, and I will make sure that somebody sends you an email and answers that question. Guys, there's more questions coming in here. I'm running out of time a little bit here. What I'm going to suggest is all these other wonderful questions that are coming in from all the other people, we will contact you by email, and we'll answer all the questions that we haven't covered at the moment. So thanks very much. Let's wrap it up at this stage. I'm going to suggest that you log on to www.legalsoftware.co.za, take us up on our special offer. Somebody will contact you, and we'll take it from there. So folks, thanks for joining us. For all of you that attended, it's really been a pleasure, and I hope you have seen that we have fulfilled our promises in showing you a way that you can really, really save a lot of time. Thanks, and enjoy your lunch. Till next time, this is Dr. Bruce Stevenson saying cheers, goodbye.